Okay, there is a huge story developing in the world of golf, and Ollie Klink is in the room to tell us a bit more about what's going on.
Ollie, what's going on here? I mean, this whole thing, this is going to dominate today's news.
Yeah. It was meant to be all about West Ham really today, wasn't it? And they are on the back pages. But this LIV golf story is unbelievable. The Saudi-run tour. They've announced the shock merger with the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour. This has come out of absolutely nowhere. The headlines: The Sun, live and let buy. The Mail. It's very good, that, isn't it? Very good. I was trying to guess what the headline was being on the way in.
Live and let buy.
The Mail went a bit simpler. Saudis buy golf. Guardian, Saudis take control. And we were saying in the office this morning, it is crazy how they have technically just bought golf. It's almost like they've gotten from a night out and gone on the little Amazon checkout and gone, oh God, did I buy golf last night? Have I actually just done that? Yes, So just to explain it a bit for you guys, it's LIV Golf's been going for 2 years or so. Very kind of controversial. It's the equivalent of a bit of a Super League, really. Not very much competition. Golfers like Phil Mickelson, he joined for about 200 million. Dustin Johnson for about 150 million. So these are big sums of money. It's a real slap in the face, though, this merger, for the players who said no.
Not half.
They only found out yesterday as well, when we all found out.
Alive.
So it's crazy. Rory McIlroy feels like the biggest loser in this situation. He was offered about, I think, 500 million to play on this tour.
Has he said anything, Rory?
Well, he was like the face of this anti-LIV movement as well. He's not spoken yet, but someone who has is Jay Monahan, the head of the PGA. He has so much to answer for. He basically got Rory to tell so many of these players, don't join LIV, stay with the PGA. And now they've technically been shafted. He spoke overnight and explained the decision to merge. Let's have a listen.
For players, I'm not surprised that this is an awful lot to ask them to digest. This ultimately is a decision that I think is in the best interest of all of the members of the PGA Tour. Allows us to partner with the PIF in a constructive and productive way, to have them invest with us, again, running the PGA Tour. We just realized that we were better off together than we were fighting or apart. I recognize that people are going to call me a hypocrite. And anytime I've said anything, I said it with the information I had at that moment. And I said it based on someone that's trying to compete for the PGA Tour and our players.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, he's under huge fire. Ali, how on earth would you feel if you were one of these players who'd rejected this in the first place?
It sounds very much to me like Rory, perhaps not been much as stabbed in the back as lanced in the back with the biggest ever lance in history. I don't know, he must be absolutely livid, right? Raging when you think about it. Let down, angry, But then the argument again, Ollie would say, are golf doing anything different from football, boxing? Are they? I don't know if they are.
Yeah, there's a good bit actually, I think in the Times today, just listing what Saudi have actually bought now. They've even had their bid accepted for the 2029 Winter Asian Games as well. They're going to build a big complex for that, and I think get some mountains ready for that. It's absolutely unbelievable. You're right. Boxing, football, everything now, and now pretty much the whole of golf.
It's selling its soul.
Listen, what's fascinating? I mean, we've had so many conversations about money in sport and what it looks like and what form it comes in, and you can argue in almost all of them that the horse is bolted, and things are already being invested in that perhaps we might have a disagreement with, but we can't now because those are the rules and it's happening. Thanks, my water. But one thing I found, let's watch that chair. One thing that I think is really interesting about all of this is, we think if you're trying to go down the positive route, you could say, well, look, golf is getting back together. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for the fans, and perhaps they'll get the product that they always wanted, because both tours were suffering. LIV Golf's viewing figures were terrible. The guys that stayed on the PGA did get some money back. However, so it wasn't almost like they were like, oh, we're so poor. But to put it back together, that's the positive.
Because the calendars were clashing as well, and that was one of the reasons.
It wasn't making sense for anybody. However,
have they put it back together, right?
Well, it's a merger, so it is coming back together.
Okay, but I would argue the opposite. I would argue it would intensify the feeling between Rory McIlroy, the others, and the other players.
Well, there you go.
Because
competition.
Some of them,
they're not like...
Yeah, but I mean, brings them together. Wait a minute, I had a chance of getting 400 million. I've knocked it back morally, and now you've sold your soul.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it's bringing MD together.
No, I'm not talking about making friends. I'm talking about the product of golf being all of the best golfers in the world, getting to watch them together again. It wasn't good for anyone. Look, I don't think it's a good thing in the first place. I'm not saying that at all. I just think that if you want to look for the only positive probably in this, it would be that. But there are some huge questions to answer. I tell you what is probably as well. Think about all the journalists that were really split on this. All of the crew behind the scenes, all of the production staff that were told to choose one tour or one. And I tell you what, it was a lot more heated than people even realise, like behind the scenes. We only hear about the golfers. We don't hear about everybody else that was involved in this. So I'd be fascinated to see how other journalists, how production crew feel about the merger, how they think it's going to affect golf. And actually, if everybody, I think the fact it came out of nowhere, there's going to be a lot more questions about what's going on and how this happened. It's fascinating, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. Loads of people being let down, really. But the other big story, as we said, West Ham in
West
there.
Ham.
The Europa
You Irons.
You Irons. Europa Conference final tonight, Fiorentina live on talkSPORT. Papers all talk about Declan Rice, who spoke yesterday. The Sun went with Bobby Dazzler because he's told his players to become legends like Bobby Moore. The Mail, we can be heroes. Rice wants to join the Immortals. He'd be the first West Ham captain to lift a trophy since 1980, Billy Bonds in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Ali, I just wanted your thoughts because it might be his last game and there's a bit of talk about that, but we don't want to talk about that today.
That's a conversation for another day. This is about West Ham. I need to let the listeners know I'm not happy with Moyes. I sent him a message yesterday, he's not get back to me. It's as if he's busy. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. In all seriousness,
what did you say to him?
I just wished him all the best and told him to keep Billy McElhenney away from any decisions, effectively. But in all seriousness, I said yesterday, I can't remember looking forward to a game where my team's not involved in as much. Do you know what I mean? I'm really, really looking forward to it. I don't know whether it's because I'm in the area, I've got a soft spot for West Ham, we're in that. I really enjoy listening to West Ham fans. They give us a call, and what a day for them. And there was guys at the airport yesterday watching in the news, going with their sons, going with their grandsons and all that stuff. And what a trip for the West Ham fans. I just hope they do it. I really do. It's a tougher game, I think, than maybe some people are thinking. I think a lot of people are saying automatically, English Premiership, best league in the world and all that stuff. But I definitely think there's been an improvement in Serie A and the teams in it.
Yeah, good side, Fiorentina, definitely. By the way, we're going to hear from Joe Cole a bit later on, West Ham boy. He's in Prague as well, ready for that game. He's coming up from 8. I'm going to give you a sneak preview of him, though, and his thoughts on Man City at Chelsea at 7:15. Some really interesting stuff on Mason Mount. Very strong on him.
Really?
But he's also out in Prague, as I said, with the big man Carlton Cole. And he's told me what they have planned in West Ham win. It's brilliant, honestly.
It's twins. I mean, that is Schwarzenegger and DeVito, isn't it? It really is. That is our very own twins.
I want Moose to get on their night out as well. With his
the good news
tuna.
is somebody spotted Moose. He was on Paul Ross last night at 3 a.m. So it was. It seemingly it was Nuremberg or something like that. I don't know if he was on trial or not, but he's certainly Nuremberg. So there you are.
Goodness.
Not bad, Ed. Flew above the heads of most of them in here, Ed.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.